want to do a video about the banks again. I do more videos about the Rothschilds than anybody I know. But there was something I saw on the internet about the way things are going to look in 2020, and they have this uh, parabolic diagram, and I'll show you what that is in case you haven't seen it before. It's a graph where things go like way up, way up. It's parabolic. Instead of going up like, say, gradual like that, it goes way up, parabolic. It could be going way down too, go up or down like that. Anyway, the one thing about it is they said that in 220, there's no way to stop this because it's so far, it's so much up, it's such a high slant that it can only keep going up in a slant like that until it crashes again. So, but what I wanted to say is there's also one other thing you could put there, and that's just a simple pyramid. Because, see, what you have is you have up at the top of this pyramid, you have the Rothschilds, which I mentioned over and over again, trillionaires, and then you have billionaires. And what, so they're at the top of this pyramid, but you have more of them than ever now, and they're just going farther and farther. They have like more than half of all the money is going to these people, and that leaves the bottom half gets this much, and the top half gets all this. Well, there's also the earnings to debt. Now, there's no way one person can plow a field and say it'd be worth $1 billion. Now, I know that the Waltons or whatever the head of like Walmart, they could, you'd say, well, they deserve their money because look how many Walmarts there are and all this stuff. Well, it's because of the people working for them, of course, that make the money. But that's kind of the whole thing is they have all this cheap labor, and then they get their billions. And that's kind of what's going on. Only it's even worse than that because there's a lot of dishonest money, like with the derivatives and stuff like that, that's going on. And so there's a whole lot of deception, and the use of the stock market or the misuse of the stock market goes way back to the 1700s. As a matter of fact, that's how the Rothschilds gained control of the central banks of France and England, because of the deceptive use of the stock market. And it's being deceptively used again, for example, like with Bear Stearns. Bear Stearns had a AAA rating, and then they all of a sudden they had a very bad rating. But what people don't realize is that the Rothschilds had control of Bear Stearns way before it was up or down. They had J.P. Morgan is part of the Rothschilds, and J.P. Morgan is can control things like Bear Stearns and Goldman Sachs. I mean, there's a lot of those things are intertwined, and people don't really see the connections there, and they think that now there's a lot of stuff that goes on that really doesn't involve the Rothschilds, but it's kind of like they're they're like the outer circle, and they affect the inner circles in ways that people don't realize. They, or you could say they're the inner circle and they affect the outer circle in ways that people don't realize. However you want to put it, they seem to be involved in a whole lot of things, and from centuries ago. And because I learned that just from backtracking. I had this one lady saying, well, your rants, you scare people with your rants and stuff. And I'm a Bible believer, and well, for one thing, it's like Alex Jones said. If your house was on fire or something, you want me to say, well, I can't tell you your house is on fire because that might scare you. Um, there's really some really deceptive stuff that's going on, and if you want to just read your Bible, that's your business. But to say that, to call me names or say, well, you're scaring people or whatever. Well, you don't know the first thing about me. You don't realize that I researched this stuff. I read the Bible when I was you know um, grade school for a while. Well, I read it when I was an adult. It was a waste. It was really a waste. It's not a book. It's actually 100 books, and they're all like children's books. Children's books that are full of lies, like um, Jonah being swallowed by a whale for 3 days, and this stuff about feeding people with 2 fishes and all that stuff, and turning water into wine, and it goes on and on. I mean, if you want to believe that, that's fine. But I live in a real world, and the real world is this right here. This is the real world. That might look simple to you, but you don't research. You don't go and figure out what's really going on. All you want to do is read that one book of books. If you read that, so I'd watch it before you say oh, I'm scaring people and everything because it's just that they're lazy. That's all. And if, so anyway, that's what I want to